Hello friends and welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Elise and this is my mystical spooky bookshelf, and today I have for you another book review. I talked about The Life of a Showgirl last week, and when I ended that I said I was going to talk about Practical Magic, and I am going to. So with Practical Magic, I was so excited to read it. I had it on hold on my Libby app, and it was ready like October 1st, or somewhere before October maybe. And I was like, oh, this is great timing, because this has been on my TBR for like 2 or 3 years. Because I had always heard good things about Practical Magic and like the movie and stuff, and I had never seen the movie either, so I have to watch that. But I was really excited to listen to it because I had gotten the audiobook version, and to say that I was disappointed would be like a little bit of an understatement. I loved the writing. Alice Hoffman is a great writer. She's really got beautiful prose. Her words are stunning. I felt like listening to it was very lush. There was lots of good descriptions, but at times it was a tad bit boring, I guess. Or like I was having a hard time following because I didn't realize there wasn't going to be much dialogue. I thought it was going to be more like lots of talking between the two sisters, but there really wasn't. So like the premise of Practical Magic sounds really cool. It's about these two sisters who live with their aunts, and their sisters are, oh no, I don't think I remember their names. I should have written them down. But no, the sisters, they live with their aunts, and I can't remember their names at the moment, but they like grow up without their mom and dad. And then they grow up, and one of the sisters falls in love and has a daughter. And the other sister kind of gets married a lot, I guess. And she's like the more flighty one. Like one of the sisters is very grounded. She has brown hair. I can't remember her name for the life of me. But she has a daughter named... Oh, I can't remember her daughter's name either. This is really bad. I mean, honestly, I can't remember any of the characters' names. I do know that the aunts' names are Bridget and Frances. Those are the ones I remember, because I really like those names. But yeah, I'm lost on the names. It might come to me as I keep talking. But yeah, so one of the sisters stays in the hometown with the aunts and then gets married to a man named Michael. It's weird I remember the other characters' names, but not the main character. So the one sister with brown hair, she gets married to a man named Michael. And I don't know, I guess the premise was kind of confusing because it said the Owens, that's their last name, the Owens. The Owens sisters, they're like destined to always have the men they fall in love with die, but like they only fell in love like, at least the one sister, she only fell in love like once. So I was like, I feel like that was kind of a lie. I don't know. So Michael dies, he passes away, and the one sister who was married to Michael has two daughters, and it's kind of in the same boat as her and her sister. Like one is more rambunctious than the other is more grounded, and a lot of the weird stuff happens in this book. Like it opens when the two sisters are children, and they watch their aunts do like magic, like I don't know, like traditional witchcraft, I guess. I don't know, I thought it was gonna be more fantasy, but it's really not fantasy. It's more like if you like are literally an actual like witch, I think this would be stuff that you would do. And that kind of left me unsettled because I'm not into that, I guess. I mean, the premise of it sounds cool, but I thought it was going to be more like like more fantasy magic, not like real, actual, like dark stuff. I don't know. It just felt like it was very misleading. And this is one of the cases where I guess the movie is better than the book, which I thought was crazy. But I mean, I guess I've never seen the movie, so I guess it would be better than the book, because the book, like I said, it's kind of misleading. I guess maybe the movie took some liberties, because a lot of people on Goodreads, this was the common theme. The movie is so much better than the book, and it's kind of it upsets me a little bit, because usually the book is supposed to be a lot better. And I mean, in terms of like descriptions and stuff, I would say the book is really good, but I've never seen the movie, so I can't really do like a fair comparison. But I mean, the book just wasn't what I expected. Like, there's a lot of dark themes in this book that I wasn't like expecting it to touch upon. It felt more like a family, like, omen warning type of story. And because, like I said, it doesn't make sense that all the men that the Owens women fall in love with die. Because, I mean, the one sister only fell in love with Michael, and he passed away, obviously. But I feel like that was a freak accident. But with the other sister, we don't really hear how her marriage is ended necessarily. We only get one of her marriages ending, and that was because she killed him. And it was like, it was an abusive situation, so I kind of feel like it was self-defense almost. But that's kind of like how the story unfolds when the women are adults. So like when the women are younger, when they're children, it opens with their aunts doing witchcraft and stuff and doing love potions for other women in town. And that was another thing that was kind of jarring. It was like reading about these potions that make people fall in love with each other. It was kind of icky. It felt icky to me. Like, one of the stories was this young woman falls in love with someone who is in a marriage, a committed marriage, and like she actively breaks up the marriage. But I mean, it comes back to bite her, because the potion, I don't think it really makes someone fall in love. I think it makes them infatuated with you, or like lustful towards you, I guess, because the young woman then complains that all this man wants to do is like be with her, like with, like, I don't know, inappropriate, like, I don't want to actually, like, you know what I mean, want to be with her, and like in that way, and like never stop wanting to be with her. And she's getting really fed up with it. She says she's sore all over and stuff. This book just did not hit right for me. It really didn't. It made me feel very icky at times, and I'm like, why? This is not the cozy fantasy that I was anticipating. This is very real life, and it's kind of dark, and I didn't really like it that much. I mean, the writing was beautiful. I think I would give the writing, in terms of Alice Hoffman and her style of prose, I would give that 5 stars, because she's a great writer. I didn't realize how beautiful of a writer she is, because I never read any of her books before. But in terms of the story, I think I would give it like a 2 or 3 star. So, like, overall, I would say maybe it's a 3.5 if you take into account that I really like the writing, but I didn't really like the characters or the story overall. It was just weird. It was unsettling. And once we get past that part when the girls are kids and they get ridiculed for their aunts being witches and stuff, and once we get into them being adults and the sisters reunite, it kind of takes a weird turn, because you find out the one sister, who had been married a couple times, had killed her recent husband, and you don't really find out how she killed him until like a little bit later, and then he's like haunting them, and it's really strange. Like, all these bad things start happening because the one younger sister had killed her husband. All these bad things start happening, and they start happening to the kids, to the sisters, and eventually they have to have their aunts come and like do a cleansing thing, I guess. I don't know. This book was very all over the place for me. Like, the story didn't really make sense to me. I feel like it was told in these really long, rambling parts. Like, there weren't chapters, it was more like phases. Like, there was different, like, titles for each of the phases. And I mean, I read the comments on Goodreads, and I guess the movie was completely and utterly different, so I guess they took a lot of liberties with the movie. And I really want to watch the movie, and I had read that someone said that Garden Spells is more like how the movie feels, because it takes place in a flower shop, because the one older sister ends up owning a flower shop, and I guess that doesn't happen in the book. She doesn't own a flower shop. I don't think she owns anything. I don't remember what they do for a living. I think one of the sisters is a waitress. And I think the other sister kind of just takes care of her children, which is to be expected. But it's kind of a weird book because it spans across generations, and I think that's kind of why it was confusing for me. And I know with the Practical Magic series, there's practical magic, there's rules of magic, and then there's a third book that's like a prequel. And maybe if I started with those, like the ones about their ancestors, like Maria Owens, I know that's one of the women's name in the Owens family is Maria. I think she's in Rules of Magic, and I think it's her backstory. And because I think Maria is Frances and Bridget's mom, and Frances and Bridget are these girls' aunts. So, I mean, I think it's like a generational thing. So maybe it would make more sense to not read Practical Magic first, even though it's listed as the first book. But I know that a lot of people didn't like it, and I'm in that boat. I want to watch the movie because it is just... I don't understand how, like, you can take so many liberties with the movie, and, like, the book is completely not the same. Because I know the movie, people praise it for being cozy, and it's like a romantic comedy, and I didn't get that from the book. It's not a romantic comedy. It felt very dark. It felt more like a warning for other things, like, don't do this, don't fall in love. I mean, but in the end, the one sister who had been married to Michael, she does end up falling in love with this detective who is trying to figure out how this man died. And that was also a part that was confusing to me, because the end quote is, fall in love as many times as you can, when that really wasn't the premise of the whole story. It was more like a warning of falling in love. I feel like the plot was just kind of convoluted, and maybe maybe the plot, I don't know, I feel like maybe to make it better, it would be more beneficial to not include when the girls were children, because that just felt really drawn out, and it felt unnecessary at times, because it didn't really call back to when they were adults. It was more like a backstory that didn't really need to be there. I think it would be better if we just jumped right to the jumped right to the girls being women, and like not even talking about their aunts in the beginning and how they do love potions and stuff, because it didn't really matter, to me at least, when I was listening to it. And at times it felt like it was hard for me to follow along. Because like I said, there's like no dialogue, basically. It's more like just third person point of view telling. That's something that I guess I had never really read before, because I feel like dialogue is a catalyst for most books. And this didn't have a lot of dialogue. There were certain points where it did have dialogue, and those were the parts that I could understand better. But for the most part, it was just really beautiful descriptions, and like trying to assess the characters in a very arm's length, like this narrator is not close to them type of way. And some of the vibes, I guess, felt a little bit cozy with how Alice Hoffman had described stuff, but other than that, I mean, it felt very dark, like I said, and I just didn't didn't really vibe with me that much, and I was very disappointed because this had been on my TBR for a long time. I guess I'm happy that I rented it from Libby rather than buying it, because I would have been so upset if I would have spent an Audible credit on it. So I guess my takeaway from this video overview of Practical Magic, maybe don't read Practical Magic first. Maybe read one of the prequels and then go to Practical Magic, and maybe that will be better, because that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to see if I can rent the other books from Libby, and maybe I can get the pieces together and I can do another video talking about all of the Practical Magic world and how the other books and the other generations of women connect with this generation of women that's being talked about. And then I'm going to watch the movie, and then I'm going to make my comparison even better, because I know people really love this movie. They love it a lot, and I hear lots of good things about it. And I want to be one of those people. I'm going to have to figure out where to watch it. But yeah, I'm sorry, this video review seems kind of all over the place, but that's just kind of how it felt to read the book. But thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing, and I just appreciate all the support, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, friends!